Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome you all to the second episode of Connect with SPJ Ambassadors. My name is Nikita Marwa, and I'm a part of the recruitment team from Mumbai and your host for the evening. In today's session, we will be interacting with our alumni from the Executive MBA program in order to know their professional and personal journey during and after the program, also their enriching experience and their valuable takeaways. As we go through the session, the audience, if you have any questions for us, I request you to kindly post it in the chat box below, and we will be addressing your queries as we go through the session once in the detail. Before I introduce you all to our alumni, let me take a moment and introduce you to the school first. SPJ School of Global Management is an Australian business school having campuses spread across Dubai, Singapore, Sydney, and Mumbai. We are a young business school to have acquired standing in the global rankings. We are currently ranked amongst the top 20 business schools by the Forbes International. Our accreditation comes in from the Australian TEXA, and hence it makes our degrees globally recognized. The Executive MBA program offered by the school is a 18 months weekend program for busy working professionals who would like to upgrade their skill sets for faster career acceleration without leaving their jobs. This program can be pursued in two modes. The first one being the on-campus delivery of lectures, wherein students based in cities where we have physical campuses can come along to the campus and have in-person classes. Other one is our new engaged learning online, which is interactive classrooms. Herein, students can be based in any geographic locations and they can still be a part of the class and they can learn on the go. In fact, upon launch, we were first in Asia and fourth in the world to have this technology of delivering lectures. So now let's go ahead and welcome our ambassadors for this evening. Hello, ambassadors. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. So I'll just introduce you all to our audience today, and then we will be starting with the session. So we have with us today Ms. Akanksha Bector, founder and director, Lingam Innovations Private Limited. We have with us Mr. Viranshi Purohit, LCC and indirect sourcing leader, India, Ingersoll Rwanda. And we have Mr. Sahil Khanna, who is a partnership business leader, Asia Pacific, Latin America, Greenlight Planet. So I hope, ambassadors, we are ready for a power-packed discussion ahead.
Yes.
Sure, sounds good.
Great. So we'll start discussing this with Sahil. My first question goes to you. Since you have been, being in the industry for so long, you were doing very well in your career. Where was it, where did you feel the need of doing an MBA program? Why did the thoughts come up to your mind? If you could brief us a little about what your work profile was there previously doing an MBA and while you decided to pursue an MBA, and how did you plan to take it forward?
Sure. Thanks, Nikita. In fact, the background of me wanting to do an MBA is very interesting. Initially, I never thought I needed an MBA, and I did not really pursue it because I had a good start to my career. But as I went into more leadership roles, I realized that there are certain things that I may want to learn so that I can brush up my skills more. And obviously, there are different courses which help you get to that learning standard. But the most important thing is that an executive MBA gives you a holistic situation of what happens inside an organization, from finance, marketing, operations, everything. So when you're managing a P&L, when you're managing different functions, it's very important for you to understand every aspect of business. And that's where the electives come in. So the thing where you want to expertise in the long run is where you can always go for your electives. If I want to talk about my profile, when I started working when I actually started my EMB program with SPJ, I was leading sales for India for Greenlight Planet, and by the time I finished, I was leading business for Asia Pacific and Latin America. I won't attribute 100% of this credit to just the MBA, but I would say that over the last 2 years, my journey with SPJ has actually helped me acquire new skills like financial accounting, looking at the P&Ls, understanding the stock market, these are things that you don't really proactively get into otherwise, but the MBA program and the practicality of the program always helps you in understanding the holistic situation of the entire business.
That's great, Sahil. So it ideally has given you more of diversity in terms of your learning and a broader exposure in terms of your performance and developing more of professional skill sets.
That's right.
Right? Great. So my next question goes to Mr. Viranchi Purohit. Viranchi, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience first, detailing about your current life, your pre-MBA life, and where is it that what kind of contemplations were you doing while you were looking for MBAs around, and what were your key highlights of narrowing down your choice to the SPJ's MBA program?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. And again, thank you for joining this session. Glad to be here with all of you. My name is Viranchi Purohit, and I am an EMBA graduate of 2020 batch, and I've done my specialization in marketing. I have approximately 15 years of experience across operations and supply chain. And currently, as Nikita introduced me earlier, I am responsible for the LCC and indirect sourcing for Ingersoll Rand in India. Okay. Now, similar to what Sahil mentioned, it was approximately 13 years since the time that I had graduated from college. Okay, and a lot of the learning had taken place on the job, from the stakeholders by observing. Okay, and that certainly had helped me grow in the company and take on new roles. But I also realized that somewhere I was thinking more two-dimensional. That is from the perspective that I'm really relying on my experience from the past and not really updating myself with new skills and new knowledge. So I felt that it's really important to throw myself a new challenge and get out of the comfort zone that I had gotten into, And so that's where I felt that the EMBA would be the perfect way to, augment my skills and knowledge and add that third dimension of thinking, which really helps you once you are in the program and also after the program. Like many of the prospective candidates who are looking at the session today, and my friends here, Sahil and Akanksha, we all went through the process of first contemplating whether we need an MBA. So the first thing is the needs analysis. So I felt that yes, it is time. Second is, which institute, right? Okay. And I was very clear that I wanted to go for a part-time MBA or weekend program. And I had narrowed down my choices to about 3 institutes, be it ISB, NMIMS, and also SPJ. Okay. And after evaluating all, I did feel that the SPJ Global program brought the best value proposition, for a program that's taught in India, but also provides the network and infrastructure of a truly global school as well. So that's basically how, starting with the needs analysis and then, trying to evaluate options and then finally arriving at the decision to do, my EMBA from SPJ Global.
Thank you so much, Viranchi. It was really a great analysis that you have given us in the terms of what are the highlights of the program and what influenced you to join us for the program. Thank you very much. And coming down to Akanksha now. Akanksha, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience today. And if I'm not wrong, you have actually transited from being a working professional to becoming an entrepreneur. So,
Yes.
What were your influences or what were your learnings from the program that actually influenced you or supported you to take the big step of moving out from being a working professional to getting onto an entrepreneur?
Okay. Hi, Nikita. Hi, everyone. My name is Akanksha Bector, and approximately I have 16 years of work experience as on date. So when I was planning to join this program, I already had 13 years of experience. By profession, I'm a chartered accountant. So I was into that field for past 13 years before I joined. And MBA came in as a natural choice because I had already taken the decision to be an entrepreneur, and it was a very big step, for an accountant, being in the same, numbers for last so many years and doing the same kind of work. So this was a big decision, and then naturally I thought I had to upgrade my skills to a certain level. Then, like Viranshi said, yeah, you have to fall back on your previous experience for what knowledge to gain further, but then to know what to read also needs some guidance, some framework, where to look for things. So that was where I decided to do an MBA, and then SPJN and NMIMS were the choices which were fitting into my schedule of hectic work schedule. So yes, SPJN became the choice because it had an all-round exposure, it had global exposure as well, and I had received a good feedback about it. So the skills that I gained were like, good networking. So an entrepreneur, as apart from a professional, needs a lot of benchmarks, a lot of viewpoints, new viewpoints, and an all-round exposure of HR, of supply chain, everything. So you need to be able to know something to guide other people as well. So that's where this experience came in very, very handy for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Akanksha, for discussing about your profile and your skills development onto the program. Now, as Akanksha rightly said, it has to fit into a person's schedule, because we usually face a lot of challenges when it comes to work-life balance. And adding up an educational responsibility, a study plan becomes another challenging situation. So, because of this, most of the candidates keep procrastinating their plans of doing an MBA program. So I would like you all to discuss about how do you balance the work life and your study plans when you join the program, especially at least in the initial few months. When you newly start something, it's really a very taxing kind of a thing. So at least in the initial few months, what was your experience? How were you managing time, managing the program, and did the journey become smooth as you went along with more of as you went along with the further months of the program? Viranchi, would you like to take up this question with us?
Sure. Incidentally, just a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to talk to the latest batch 12, during their orientation. And that's what I told them. I told them that it's not only you who is going through the EMBA. It's you, it's your family, it's your friends, and it's your workmates as well, including your boss. Okay. So from my experience, I can say that it's important to be transparent with everybody who is touching your life and your schedule, that for the next 18 months, I will not be available always, okay, especially on weekends and also certain times during the week when you have to, prepare for your exams and your assignments. That has to be very clear, especially if you have children at home or parents to look after, or your wife certainly would want your time. I think those conversations need to be done early on. Now, once you're in the program, I would say that a few things that help me, I'll just share. One is stay committed. And though the first month, I think maybe Sahil and Akanksha will share, the first month is the month which is a little bit challenging, because you're trying to get into a new routine. You have to figure out, when do you have to get up, when do you have to shower and eat, when do you have to catch the cab in time to reach, the campus, etc. Though I will say we are in, very different circumstances right now. Nobody is traveling outside their home, so they have, a lot of, I would say, slack to plan their day. But at least for us, when things were normal, we had to really plan that schedule, and it took about a month or so to fit in. Okay, and the other thing is ask questions. Okay, don't feel afraid to ask questions, but also don't ask questions just for the sake of asking questions. Okay, I think people very quickly come to know that who's asking questions for, who have a genuine query, and then who are just asking the questions, let's say, for class participation. Another thing that really helped me was I maintained one single diary throughout the entire course, which helped me through the courses refer back to any prerequisite courses, Even today, sometimes when I want to refer to, let's say, some marketing concept or something, as Sahil was saying, that we're looking at the stock market analysis, I do still refer to that one diary. So that certainly has helped me. So I'll again say that the EMBA is not a 100-meter sprint. It is more like a marathon. Okay, so you have to be physically also fit. So you have to invest in your physical health, your mental health, in order to meet the challenges of completing the program successfully in 18 months. That's been my experience, and certainly Sahil and Akanksha can share theirs.
Sure. Sahil, would you like to add a few points on this?
Sure. I think Viranji put it very well. The initial few months are obviously a little tough. You need to adjust to a new lifestyle. All of us are used to having some good family time over the weekends, meeting friends, attending family functions. All of those things will kind of take a backseat for the next 18 months. You might miss a few functions. You might miss a few important meetings. You might miss a few get-togethers with friends. But I think once you're entering the program, the idea of entering the program should be clear. Unlike normal graduation courses or any MBA courses, if you're taking an EMBA course, you're doing it for your own professional development. We're all at a stage in our careers wherein we're going for learning. We're going for self tutoring. We're not going because the course has been imposed onto us by our parents or anything. So I think one that ownership is very important. So once you enter the course, have 100% complete ownership of the program, because you've already done significant amount of financial and time commitment to the course. So you might as well pull through with it. My biggest suggestion to everyone who's aspiring to be a part of the course is to enjoy the course. I think one very good thing that will come out of your experience is having a college life at this stage in our careers, right? We've all enjoyed our programs. You know that there might be times where you're in campus and you'd be waiting, when will I get my weekends back? But when the program actually gets over, you feel so nostalgic about going to the campus, meeting your friends again, because you don't get to see them again as frequently as you did before, but you make some wonderful connections. I think the trick is to embrace the program, not think of it as a liability, but thinking of it as a new learning every day. So go with a fresh mindset every day. Enjoy your time in the course. I think at the kind of age groups that we see in EMBA, people who are 30, people who are 40, you'll see people from all phases of life, different levels of experience, different industries. So the learning, peer-to-peer learning is amazing. Group works are super helpful. So as long as you have ownership, that you have started the program and you need to deliver and complete it, and you enjoy the program, you will have a lot of fun completing this course, and you will actually miss once the course ends, just like we all are.
Exactly, because when you start coming to the campus after a very long break, every weekends you are being around with your peers, you are enjoying with them. It's kind of a fun learning that happens in the program. So once the course is completed, it definitely creates a vacuum for every candidate, I believe. Great. So I think the next very frequently asked question which we normally face from the students is that how this course normally helps them in the real life, because at this stage of your career you are actually looking for something which is more of an application based learning, like whatever you study in the class, how can you apply that in your real world. So I would like to understand from you, like does this program give you enough of projects, or the kind of methodology that is adopted in the program, how real time it is and how realistic it is, like what kind of developments have you seen from the classroom to the boardroom. So would you like to throw some light on that? Sahil, you can take up the question.
Sorry, Nikita, I lost you for a bit. Can you please repeat the question?
Okay, so I was trying to ask you that normally when students are looking for an MBA program, the first and the foremost question that they have is how this program will bring value addition to me. Because at this stage of the career, they are not looking for something which is very theoretical. They would be more focused upon practical and application-based learning. So, they would want to understand that whatever is learned and studied in a classroom, how do they take those learnings and the application of it to the boardroom? So, I would like to understand what kind of projects or what kind of methodology the program has been offering, which helps you do this transition of learning.
Sure. I think one very important thing to understand is that your peers and you will come from very different backgrounds, right? You will be in different jobs. Your peers will be in different jobs. They will be in different functions, and the courses which are taught are very application based, but also from a generic understanding point of view. So, as Viranchi had mentioned before, continue asking questions. The best way to maximize the output from this program is to continue asking questions, be curious, and try to relate everything you learn back to your work. The best I think advantage of being on the job while doing your program is that you can have quick application of your learnings. So if I'm doing financial statement analysis in the class, I would actually open my company's P&L and L and try to relate what is being taught, and then I would ask certain questions which I have doubts on. So the great thing is that you can always go back. You can see how certain concepts can be applied in real life situation, and you can actually apply it. And I've seen a lot of examples from my EMBA stint wherein I was like, I'm in a leadership position since the last 2 years, and how come I didn't know it? How come I didn't understand these things? Because see, you will learn on the job as you go, and on the job learning is extremely important. But at the same time, there are still some very important applications and concepts, even best practices that you learn through the EMBA program with some wonderful professors. So how the program is taught is not a very traditional way of teaching wherein a professor will come, write things on the blackboard, you have to write stuff on the notebook. It's none of that. It's more application based, it's more conversational. We're all matured individuals, so you don't really have that teacher student relation, but you have more of a peer to peer relation even with your professors. So I think the trick to maximize is to have quick application. Take your concepts back. Not everything is going to be relevant. Not all the concepts that you learn will be relevant. Certain concepts will be more relevant. As long as you go back, apply them to your workplace, I think you will see quick results. But learning never stops. So keep learning, keep absorbing, and keep applying things in your practical life is what my suggestion is.
Certainly, Sahil. Just one small addition herein. The one methodology of teaching that SPJN has adopted is the PAW methodology. We call it as problems at work. So, Akanksha, would you like to throw some light on the PAW methodology that we adopt on the program?
Sure. The PAW methodology, that is problem at work, is a part of every course. At the end of every course, that's an assignment given to students. So I think that's extremely helpful in applying your real work problems to these assignments. And the better part is that you get a perspective from your classmates as well on those problems. Sometimes if you would like to discuss with them, then whatever the concept you have learned, you get a direct application opportunity to take it. You can discuss it with the professors. So idea is that you should not complete those problem at work assignments like an assignment or an exam. But what I used to follow is discuss those extensively with your professors. The professors normally have an industry background with whatever subject they're teaching, so they can give you hands-on knowledge about that. Plus, discuss with your classmates who are experts at that. Like Sahil said, that you have diverse background people. You'll have people from supply chain, from marketing. So get a quick view about your problems at work with your classmates as well. So the better rapport you have with your classmates, with your professors, it's really helpful to apply it at work, and not just take it as an assignment. For me personally, for my entrepreneurial journey, like Sahil will vouch for it, we had an entire project given to the class based on my actual problem at work. So I got an excellent perspective from 30 students and the professor. That was a great enjoyable part for me with POW. Yes, that's a very good part of the course.
I'm sure that would have really been very helpful to you, Akanksha. You might have, it would have given you an opportunity to lay down your entire business plan as a part of the project that you were doing as a part of the course.
Great. 30 perspectives.
I'd just like to add to that. Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. So absolutely, PAW is a very integral part of the experiential learning at SPJ Global. And I know personally that I have seen at least a couple of students where they were having challenges in completing the PAW assignment at work, either due to not being able to clearly explain or maybe influence a stakeholder at work. A lot of times the PAW assignments at work require you to work with your stakeholders, right? Okay. The professors were willing to have a conference call with the student and the stakeholder at work to help them and support them, through the exercise. So I really felt that was, going above and beyond.
That's nice. That's nice. So before we go ahead to the next question, we have a live question from one of our audience members who would like to understand the specializations that are offered on this program. So in this program, we are offering you 5 specializations. We have specializations in finance, marketing, operations, general management, and entrepreneurship. So basis your profile, basis the skills that you want to develop, you can certainly choose a specialization that you would like to take. Okay, so moving ahead with the next question, since we have been discussing a bit about the faculties, let's talk about the faculties. In this program, I'm aware a lot of faculties come in with the industry experience. They are all PhD holders, already a doctorate in their area of specialization. So was there any faculty that really had a great impact upon you in developing your career, or the way they would have supported you in laying your career pathway or basis your learnings? So Viranchi, would you like to throw some light on this?
I think it's difficult to pick, let's say, one or two of the faculty, but I will start by saying that SPJ Global puts in a lot of effort in trying to scout, the right faculty that have both the industry experience and also have done credible research. Okay, and these professors, they have studied from very esteemed schools, such as some of the professors have studied from London School of Economics, from the IIMs. A lot of them have deep industry experience in working with both Indian and multinational companies. Okay, if you ask me to pick a few, I think all of them were good, but there were certainly a few that had a lasting impression, such as Professor Hansel D'Souza, Professor Mankad, then Professor Hanif Kanjar, then obviously Professor Smita Ranganathan as well. I do regret one thing, that I was not able to take a class with Professor Moradian. Okay, and so maybe one day, you'll see me back at campus, to take his class.
I think that's must. Meeting for Professor Moradian is must.
Yes, yes.
How about you, Akanksha? What are your views on it?
Yeah, I share that view that all the professors were, excellent in their own industry, in their own areas, and PhD. So it's very difficult to pinpoint a few, but yes, a few had a very lasting impact on me personally for my work, and because I interacted with them a lot. So one of them was, yes, Professor Moradian. I think he's the youngest professor in the campus and the most experienced, but mindset-wise, he's the youngest. And Professor Hansel, who taught us negotiation skills, which are useful in all aspects. Then Professor Smita Ranganathan, Professor Hanif, and Professor Bagga. Of course, he's such an expert in his finance area, because I'm from a finance background, so I could really relate to his expertise in finance. So it was a very good part interacting personally with the professors on your work problems, and they were always there to support and give their point of view. So yeah.
All right, great. So normally it is very well said that in any good executive MBA program, 60% learning definitely comes from the course, from the curriculum, from the professors, from the school, and the remaining 40% comes from your peers, from your alumni network of the school. So how strong is the alumni network of SPJ, and what kind of opportunities or what kind of exposure or benefits has this alumni network or the connections that you have developed in the program has helped you? Anybody could take that question.
Okay, I'll try. Well, I would say that I'm a very fresh alum, so I'm yet to experience the alumni network going forward. But yes, for example, in my batch, we had an average experience of 10 years. but collectively we had close to 300 years experience. Okay, that's the way I would look at it. And you know, so that's the rich diversity and the experience that one gets to tap into. In my batch, we had one student who was an architect. Okay, I have not heard really of many architects wanting to pursue an executive MBA, but you know, she wanted to really you know, add another dimension to her own business, and she used to come on weekends from far away, maybe taking an 8-hour bus journey. You know, we have another student who during the class or during the course decided to take up his entrepreneur journey, and now we have 3 other students who towards the tail end of the course have put in their papers and are pursuing, you know, their dream startup. Okay, so I mean, apart, you know, from the course concepts and the discussions in class, I also look at you know, some of the attributes that I can learn from my own peers, such as the ability to take risk, you know, to develop courage, and also to be able to do all of this with humility. You know, I think these are also the things which, you know, I took away from the program. And so we talk about the alumni network. I think our current batch itself and the other batches who we interacted with are our immediate network, who, you know, we look to tap into. And since graduation, which was not too long ago, I've seen a lot of communication, proactive communication coming from the alumni team about self-improvement courses, even job postings. So I think the best part about the alumni experience lies ahead.
That's great. So we have a question from Mr. Kaizad Marolia. He would like to understand that what makes this course stand out. So Sahil, would you like to address this question for him?
Sure. For Kezad's question, I think it's very subjective. So you need to see where you are in your career and what's your motive of doing an MBA, or whether you want to even do an MBA or not. So I think first you need to address that question, because SPJ and EMBA global program is excellent in case you want a program while you're working on the job, right? So that you have a decent balance. You can go and study over the weekends, come back and work over the weekdays, and at the same time it has a global name and exposure and a strong alumni connect. So everyone's reason for doing MBA is very, very different. I feel that the USP that SPGen offers is offered by only a very few institutes in the country, and that's when you need to see what makes more sense for you. I think what we can vouch for is that if you are already working, if you want an MBA degree or more learning on your job, you should first see the schools which are offering these options, and then objectively take a decision. What we can tell you is that SPGen Global is not a bad course. It's a great course. You get good learning out of it. It also depends on how you take the course yourself. So I won't come and say that SPGen is the only institute that you should look at. You should look at SPGen from perspective that if you're working, and if you want to do the EMBA program while you're working, then it makes more sense. So that's the USP of the program that we did, and very few universities offer it. The USP for SPGen is obviously that it will be the only university which will offer you a global outreach, and not a very Indian centric sort of a degree. So the degrees that we get eventually are also accredited by Australia. So that means that if you want to go outside, work in the long run, you actually have an international degree, and not just a degree which is accredited by the Indian institutes.
Thank you so much, Sahil, for addressing the question for Mr. Kaizad. Kaizad, I hope it addresses your question. If you have any addition to this, you can certainly let us know and we will address your query therein. My next question goes to Akanksha. Akanksha, I would like to understand from you, like, how important is the diversity in the batch? How important it is to have diversity? Does it really impact a lot on your learning perspective in the program? Like, how would you like to throw light on the diversity part of the course?
Yeah, so for me personally, because I took almost 3 years to complete the course because of my work schedule, I could attend the course with almost 3 batches. I was part of the 3 batches. The first batch had almost an average age of 25, the next one probably 40, and that kind of variation. So within a batch also you have 40 students, all from different work streams, different years of experience. So diversity makes a huge difference, because the kind of discussions that happen in class, so most of the courses are discussion based. You have cases and shared by professors, different kind of videos shared by professors. You get a lot of perspectives from different work streams, from different years of experience. Like the kind of questions 25 years experienced person would ask would be really different from what a 5 years experienced person would have. There's a huge difference in the kind of technological background that has happened in 10, 15 years. So you get a lot of perspective, yes, with the kind of questions and the kind of opinions you get. So I think that's a very important part, to have a good rapport with your classmates, and instead of just focusing on the course material, have good discussions with your classmates about these issues and things. It broadens basically your horizon, your frameworks, as you go back to work and apply those concepts. So yeah, that's a very good part of it, because we had a from age group from 55 years to a person 25 years old in the same batch. Makes a huge difference of perspectives.
That's nice. So, does it really gel up the class very well in terms of learning?
Yes, it does, because there would be obviously some people who would make the class very lively with their jokes and their comments, and makes the learning very helpful. Plus you get different, and the more you bond and gel with your classmates, the better learning happens in class. I think the first batch that I was with, my batch 6, was a great example. We had such great bonding, though I hardly used to attend the parties and everything, but we had such great bonding, and understanding was so nostalgic once the course got over after 18 months. And everybody's still in touch. We have WhatsApp groups. We used to diversity also makes a difference from point of view of, like, if you have a job opening in your company, you are looking for people, you get immediate input from other people. If you're looking for a job change, you have people who have vacancies in their company. So that's such a quick access you have through your teammates or classmates. You don't have to look further for inputs.
So your classroom itself is your first platform of networking, which starts opening up new opportunities for yourself.
Yes. So, and I was lucky to have interaction with 2-3 more batches. I'm in touch with a lot of people still, so makes it very helpful.
Great. Viranchi, I would also like to ask you the same question, because as far as I'm aware, there has been a great diversity in your batch as well. So how would you like to throw light on this?
Yeah, you're right. So we also had students who had right around 5 years experience, and then we had few who had over 20 years experience. And it really made the classroom very live and colorful. There were a lot of varied thoughts and perspectives that used to come across, and like Akanksha mentioned, we had a lot of fun with it as well. Over the months, there were always a few students who had a certain style of asking questions, or always probing the professor, and they know who they are if they're watching this session. But certainly, I think that SPJ also, as part of their student recruitment and admission process as well, checks and balances the right mix of experience from industry and from age as well, so that the classroom experience is beneficial to both ends of the spectrum. Somebody who has a little bit higher experience, can benefit from some of the new thoughts and cutting edge technology concepts which are being used by somebody who is, just out of college, or maybe like 5 years into work. And then those who are, I would say, having less experience, can rely on the wisdom, of somebody who's been through this cycles of the economy over the last 20 years. So certainly, I think we benefited from that.
Okay, so this was more in terms of the diversity, in terms of experience that they come in from. Would you also like to discuss about the diversity of the domain that they're coming from, like somebody coming in from an hospitality industry, somebody who's a CA, somebody who, coming in from a construction industry, aviation sector?
Yeah, sure. So being in Bombay, we would be used to, or we could probably expect a lot of finance or maybe marketing folks, right? But in our batch, as you rightly pointed out, as I said earlier, we had an architect. Okay, we also had somebody from the aviation sector. We certainly had a lot of finance people. We had marketing gurus as well. We had a few people from operations and supply chain, such as myself, and we also had entrepreneurs, who had their own family business, and they wanted to augment their skills. Certainly, it was quite a broad perspective from the individual vertical standpoint and domains. Yes.
All right. So, in order to sum up this discussion, can we say that this is a very ideally suited program for candidates who are looking for career jump in their own domain? Somebody who's looking for a shift in their career, maybe from one particular, say, probably from an IT to finance kind of a thing. Also for entrepreneurs and also for family business, right? So it caters to the requirements of people coming in from any kind of domain.
Yes, and the program and the discussions in class and the opportunity to meet with peers, it gives you a platform to facilitate this. See, there's no guarantee that if you join any program, whether it be IIM, ISB, NMIMS, or SPJN, that if you are in one function and you can graduate from the program and jump into another function. I think that's very rare. It does happen, but it's very rare. I think it's about you putting in your effort to learn the concepts of the particular function or vertical that you want to move to. Okay, so the program allows you, maybe through specialization or your course selection, and at the same time it allows you to use your network of not only your professors that are in your city, be it Mumbai, Dubai, Singapore, or Sydney, but also the students. And now that we have an alumni network, we can certainly tap into that and reach out to get some guidance, some coaching on any kind of career moves, vertical or horizontal, that somebody would like to do. So I think at the end of the day, the tools and resources and the platform are available to you. You have to make the best of it.
That's exactly correct. Like it caters to requirements of every individual, and every individual will have a different reason of doing an MBA. So it's very important for one to identify the kind of takeaways that they are looking from the program. So here we have a live question from Ms. Devina Yadav. She would like to understand whether she should go in for an on-campus or an online delivery. So Devina, ideally, whether you want to take the on-campus or the online delivery of learning, it's exactly the same program. There is no difference at all. So you need to decide upon your location. If you're based in any of the cities where we have our campuses, then yes, we encourage you to come to the campus and take your lectures over the weekend. But for any reason, if you are not based in the cities or considering your hectic work schedule, if you feel that visiting campus wouldn't be a choice for you, in that case, you can certainly go ahead and do the online learning with us. Okay, so my next question is open to everybody who would like to take up this question. Since it is a master's degree program, it is definitely a rigorous program. So, what were your challenges in the course? Like, which were the areas where you felt that, okay, these are my challenging areas, and how did you overcome those challenges while you were doing the program?
I can start off. So I didn't have a very big gap in my education. So between my graduation and my executive MBA, there was about 7 to 8 years. But I would say still the biggest challenge is getting used to studying again. You're just working in a different format. You're not used to memorizing concepts as such. You're used to applying things more practically. So initially it's a challenge. You might think the content is too much. How are you going to memorize all of these things? How are you going to give the exam? How are you going to find time to study for exams? All of these challenges are very big challenges initially, but you find your way out. So I think in terms of just getting a hold of learning, my suggestion would be to learn the concepts and not grasp them, so that you understand the concepts in detail. Because the difference again in a schoolish graduation learning versus a well-developed EMBA program is that if you have the clarity of concept, it doesn't matter if you're using bookish words or not. The important thing is that you need to have clarity of concept, and the way of teaching really helps you in getting that clarity, which is very different from traditional means of education that we've been getting. So I think one thing is just getting used to the learning. You will eventually get used to it, but just be open minded. Try to understand more concepts in depth, especially the ones which are relevant to you. You might obviously find things that you completely dislike. You don't like certain subjects, and you want to certainly avoid them or don't see value in them. For those concepts, you can still be light, but you will still get a grasp of those concepts. But the concepts which are important to you, just dig into them, ask your professors, get a good learning of the concepts, and make some time of your work hours. I think, especially during exams when you need to study, you might need to have a stricter sort of a work time schedule, wherein you can come back on time, give 2 hours to studying or doing your assignments, and still not feel the pressure of it. I think the biggest thing is that we're all working professionals. We work from Mondays to Fridays. We don't want to come back and study more. So I think if you divide your studies equally over through the week, so if you study 2 to 3 days in a week, maybe just give it half an hour or 1 hour. It's going to be enough. Don't leave it to the last minute. Don't leave it to the last day. Try to understand the concepts regularly, and you'll have your way through. I think those were my two major challenges. You might have other challenges, like when you do group projects. You might have people who are coming from completely different or diverse backgrounds, but those are actually things which you should embrace, because that's bringing in a new point of view into the conversation. But I wouldn't say that was a major challenge.
All right, that's quite insightful. Akanksha, I would like to ask you in more in terms of the flexibility of the program. Since you have taken an extended period to complete the program, how would you define the flexibility of the course? Okay, so by the time I think we get Akanksha back on board, Viranchi, would you like to throw some light on the flexibility part of the course?
Sure. So the course does. She's back.
Yeah, I think she is facing some.
There's some internet glitch.
All right, okay, over to you, Akanksha.
Okay, I'm clear now. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Akanksha,
so
clear.
okay. Yeah, so the course allows flexibility for up to 5 years. That was a helpful part for me because managing the schedule initially is a challenge. It helps to plan in advance for the exams and for the courses. Yes, especially if you have a family and you're working full time, then it's a bit of a challenge. Yeah, planning in advance helped, but for me, if you have hectic travel schedules as well in between, you need not take too much pressure, that I have to complete or have to choose between the two. You might as well pace yourself. That helped me to a great extent to interact with next batches as well, so it helped me to a greater extent in terms of networking. And yeah, I could pace myself, complete it at my speed, and be with the concepts for a longer period of time. So yeah, that's a very good part of the course, being flexible. But still, I would advise to complete it as soon as possible if it fits into your schedule, if you're available in the city, and if you're doing online, then there is no problem at all.
Okay, so we will now discuss some live questions from our audience who has posted it in the comment box. Viranchi, my next question goes to you. We have Mr. Mrinal Joshi who has been asking us that how much time commitment is required per week, per day for this program, and how often are the exams?
Okay. But I think that is a bit, I would say from an individual standpoint, you will come to know on your own. Some of us, have been away from studying and giving an exam for over a decade, and some maybe it could be 5 or 6 years. Okay, and so as you get into the program, and the the SPJN does a good job of giving you an outline at least a week before the course starts, so that you can get your feet wet as far as what the concepts are. If you feel that it's a subject that's going to require a little bit more preparation, you can do that in advance, so that you have a good foundation before you start the course. Okay, so I think each person finds their rhythm, in the first 2 to 3 months, as far as how much time do they need to give in order to get the successful outcome from that course. Now, be it the assignments or be it the exam. As far as the exams, most of the courses will have an exam. Few of the courses may have a paper towards the end of the course, which will have a very high weightage, maybe 40% of the course grade. Okay, and then towards the end of your entire course, maybe in term 3, you will have your simulations, where you will be working as a team and will have a project to work on. And I think biggest challenge as far as projects go would be the ABR. That would be the Applied Business Review, which carries 4 credit points and has the biggest influence on your overall GPA, I would say, as a single course. So I would say it's more individual experience. Okay, I think you will get a hang of it in the first 2 to 3 months. But if you ask me, for me, it was around 2 to 3 hours per week of dedicated reading and assignments. That worked for me. I know for some, it was the morning off, and for some it was maybe 2 days, but it really varies.
Viranji, I have one more question from you. We have a live audience present here, Mr. Rifun Pinto, who would like to ask you that, having similar years of experience and coming in from the same domain of indirect procurement, he wants to know how it has changed or added value to your career in terms of supply chain. Coming in from the supply chain domain, and what advice would like to give him, whether he should. So again, his question is on campus and online. So I think I have addressed that question already, that if you are based in cities where we have physical campuses, you can certainly go in for the on-campus mode. But if you are not in the city where we have a campus, then yes, we recommend you the online part. But Viranji, would you like to take the first part of his question, coming in from the similar experience and the same domain, how this course has changed or added value to your profile?
Sure. Hi, Rifun, and thanks for the question. Good to know that you're also from the same domain. Now, when it comes to our function, we are, the cost center, right? And as Sahil pointed out earlier, as you go through the course, you'll be able to look at your role and the company you work for, okay, as your own business. As if you are a business owner, how do the decisions that you take every day, impact the profitability of the company, the balance sheet of the company, and the cash flow of the company. Okay, it's not always about can I get something for a lower cost, but is it a sustainable decision to go, with that lower cost? Okay, what are the long-term impacts of that? Okay, there may be some short-term gain, but what are the long-term impacts? All right. For me, since I have been a career operations and supply chain professional, I wanted to learn something new. Okay, so I actually specialized in marketing, believe it or not. All right, and how it helps me is, in my current role, I have to work a lot with stakeholders from product development, product management, and marketing as well. Okay, so when they need to design and build prototypes or negotiate with suppliers for mass production, that time I'm able to better understand, their needs as to how the thought process evolved into making, the final decision of which product to launch into the market. From a needs analysis, from a customer positioning, then brand positioning, then the 4 Ps. I think once I understand that better, I'm really able to support them a lot better. And I'm able to get that feedback now, from the company. I think stakeholders are able to really appreciate with the level of support, the level of speed, and the level of agility with which we're able to make decisions together in order to launch product and improve the speed to market. Okay, from that perspective, certainly it has helped me. I'll also add on the last point, if that's okay, Nikita. Whether it's on-campus class or an online class, I had gone for the EMBA, considering that it was a hybrid of both on-campus and part online. Okay. Now, today the world has changed, right? I think a large part of the workforce is working from home. Schools are shut. So in this scenario, okay, if you had to select which school or which college to go to for your EMBA, I think SPJ was quite proactive in investing in their ELO platform, which is the proprietary technology which they use to have their online EMBA classes. It's a lot better than what other schools have adopted, such as Microsoft Teams or Zoom. And it's the same faculty that has already been trained on how to train online through this ELO platform. And it gives you as near as a face-to-face peer experience as you can have. Certainly, I would prefer as much of an on-campus experience as possible. But circumstances have changed, and we have to change with the circumstances. So, given that, I think that SPJ's ELO platform is a good one.
Thank you so much, Viranchi. We have the next question from Ms. Devina Yadav. She would like to know, is it possible to start the program in the blended learning format and then switch to the online in the last few months if the student is relocating? Devina, it is definitely possible. You can start the program in the blended learning module in case if you're based in Mumbai, Dubai, Singapore, or Sydney. And depending upon on which phase of the program are you going to be relocating to a different city, you can certainly take a switch to the online program, and rest of the program you can continue taking online. Okay, few of our students have questions about the networking in the program. Our students would like to know that since you are from the on-campus, if you are on the on-campus batch, it is still easier to connect and network with the students within the classroom because you're interacting with them personally. But in case if you're going for an online program, how would they interact with the students or the alumni? So would anyone of you like to throw some light on this? Like, how have you been able to interact and network with people from different batches and the alumni?
Yeah,
so
I
our
could.
experience. Akansha, you want to go for
Yes,
it?
I'll go. You go ahead, Sahil. No problem.
Okay, so I was just saying that our experience has been more on campus till now. So definitely could talk about networking opportunities on campus. You make some great friends, you make some great connections, and a lot of time you're given projects that you need to take back home, or you need to work it out during the off campus hours and then deliver. So when you start doing projects with people is when you understand your peers a little more in detail, how they professionally work, and also get a chance to know them personally. So obviously projects and face-to-face interaction definitely helps. For online, how you can do that? Maybe Akanksha, Nikita,
Sure.
Viranchi.
Akanksha, would you like to continue on this question?
Yeah, so definitely I had attended the in-person classes, but last few courses I had to take online because of the COVID situation. So definitely projects is one way, and then we have WhatsApp groups created for all the batches. That's a very good way of communicating, interacting, ideas, all sorts of interactions happening there, personal also. So that's a good way. And for online, I would suggest that students would need to be a little more proactive, to get to know their classmates, try and discuss issues online. When you get to know them on the projects, then you can probably, take it further by being proactive. Yeah, that would be my suggestion.
Yeah. I would also like to add here, since the batch 12 is currently an online batch now. So I was having a few discussions with some of the students from that batch. They had similar challenges, like they've just started the course and it's an online course. Normally, when you have an on-campus course, you go through the phase of getting to know each other in person, crack a few jokes, and that in-person experience is very difficult to substitute. We know that, all right? But given the circumstances, you have to improvise. So it's really important that you or the class takes an initiative to meet offline. Okay, I'm not encouraging, let's say, meet in person outside. That's entirely up to you how you want to take precaution and meet. But certainly, a lot of students are meeting using Zoom, WhatsApp video, Google Meet. A lot of them, every once in a while, will hold an evening party as well. They'll listen to music and they'll share they'll share drinks virtually. And they've adapted to that life. Okay, so I know it's not easy for anyone, but I think the sooner we are able to accept the situation and adapt to it, the better it is.
That's exactly how it works, because in the ELO platform also, since it's an interactive classroom, students can just talk to the faculty as well as their peers, as you guys have been doing it in the class. Using this technology, the faculties can also divide the students into groups. So when you're divided into groups, or the breakout rooms as we call them, during that period you are only allowed to interact with the people in your group. You do not get a chance to interact with the others, but yes, it allows you to work on group projects, because there can always be a possibility somebody is based in India, somebody is from Malaysia, somebody is from US. So logistically or geographically it is really not possible for you guys to meet up and do your projects. But yes, using the ELO technology, it does give you a personalized breakout room where you can get together, you can work on your projects, you can interact, formally, informally, as comfortable you are. And this really helps you build up good networks amongst yourself. Also, whether you are taking up the ELO part or the EMBA on campus part, for both the courses, we do have something like a global immersion project. This is a particular module for which our students do travel either to a Dubai or to a Singapore campus. So this is a 1 week phase where you will be physically meeting and interacting all your peers, all your classmates. You will also be interacting with the students from that particular campus. You will have certain workshops lined up with the industrial professionals, and a lot of these activities keep happening. We also do something which is known as a ECAP, which is a career acceleration pathway workshops for our students. ECAPs also give you an opportunity to interact and network with your peers, because we can have our alumni who are currently working with all the top-notch companies, just like the three of them that we have today, who can come and do these kind of workshops. We also invite industrial professionals to come and do these workshops for you. So networking basically is an ongoing part which starts right from the first month of the course, goes up for the next 18 months, and it's not a pause or a full stop after 18 months. Even when you complete the course, you are still connected to your peers, you're still connected to the alums, you're still a part of the school. So your connectivity or your networking is, I would say, ongoing and lifelong. It will really not stop there. And I'm sure all three of them will agree to this. Okay, so we are almost out of time right now. So before we end up the call, I would just like a small thing from all of you. Any advice that you would like to give to our students?
From me, I'll start with it. So from me, the advice would be start with a positive frame of mind. That it's for your own expansion, it's for your own self-development. Take it as a self-development course, rather than an academic course. So that approach would really help, and plan in advance for twice the amount that you need to do, so you'll at least manage to do what is expected, and just enjoy the course, live your college life again. That's the advice from me.
Any advice from you guys?
Adding to Akanksha's point, I think just don't be scared. I know it's a big leap. We think about a lot of things while trying to do the program, or just trying to make that lifestyle change. it will all add up in the long run. It's just the initial 1 or 2 months. You will have a very fulfilling feeling after you complete the course, because you have a major executive MBA degree behind you, and it will leave you with some great memories. So I think nothing to be scared of. Go, like, first, obviously research, see whether you want to do this program, whether it fits your need, and if it does, uh, just enjoy the course. We're all working professionals. We understand and take responsibility for our own learnings, actions. We're all financing the course also ourselves in most of these situations. So go with that ownership, have fun, make friends, network, and just enjoy.
I think Akanksha and Sahil have summed it up well. I'll just like to say that what you sow is what you reap. Okay, so and the same applies here with this course. I think it's important to have the positive mindset and just show up to class. I think the course gives you some flexibility, but we have seen that if you just show up to class, pay attention, and do your bit outside of class, and this 18 months will fly by. And now that we've graduated, it's on the weekends. We feel like a fish out of water, saying, "Oh, what to do now with all this time that we have on our hands?" Okay. So it's challenging, but the good part is there are approximately 30 of you all in this challenge together. So it'll be fun. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ambassadors, for this power-packed session and giving our audience a great insight about your experience with the school. I also thank our audience for giving us this attention and joining us for this session. We will soon be coming up with more of such interactive sessions with another set of alumni who will be able to share their experience on the programs. You can certainly get connected with us for any further discussion, any further queries, or we are extremely sorry if we would have missed out on a few questions. You can always get connected with us and we will be able to address those questions for you. And for any more information, please, please look on for information on our website, which is www.spjn.org. Have a great weekend ahead, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.